Okay.
Alright, many of you weren't born in 1999, so for those of you who don't remember the nuclear war, Nostradamus predicted a nuclear war, or it was a nuclear war until it wasn't a nuclear war, then it became 9/11. We're going to look at what this quatrain actually says, and what it's claimed to say by some unscrupulous hoax. I said it again. Alright, so I'm going to start with, this is what you've probably read. Ominous voice. The year 1999, 7th month. From the sky will come the great king of terror, to bring back to life the king of the Mongols, before and after war reigns happily.
To see what this quatrain means to someone who hasn't had their mind warped by Nostradamus' hysteria, I read it to someone who has never heard of Nostradamus. Some say she knows 2 facts about ducks, and both are wrong, and that if she was making this video, she wouldn't be stealing material from Top Gear. All I know is she's my friend Destiny.
It's perfect. That's aliens. Everybody knows. That's perfect.
So we got line by line. What's this first line? The year 1999, 7th month.
We can see the French. I won't read it to you well, I could read it to you if you like, but it's not the way it sounded at the time. L'an 1999, 7 mois, du ciel viendra un grand roi d'effrayeur, ressusciter le grand roi d'Anglemois avant un vrai Mars régné par bonheur. Now, bear in mind that French wasn't pronounced then as it is now. For example, the word roi, king, R-O-Y. It was pronounced Roy. That's why it's spelled R-O-Y. And after it became Roy, and then it gradually changed into Roi.
The translation then, the first line, the year 1999, 7th month.
Okay.
That's what...
Now, the year 1999, 7 months, it says, shall come a great defraying king of the region to resuscitate the great king from Angoumois. Before, after March, he shall reign with good fortune. Now, du ciel, the first 2 words in the line, from the sky. But very often he uses ciel to mean astrological part of the sky. And it's quite possible that it means a great king of the region. Now, d'effrayeur, that's the big word at the end of the line, d'effrayeur. In most translations it's rendered D apostrophe effrayeur, which means of terror, but in the original there was no apostrophe. D'effrayeur means defraying, somebody pays the bills. So a great defraying king of the region.
We've gone from ruling terror to paying bills already.
Yeah, that's the worst example really of this sort of mistranslation. The first 2 printings had no apostrophe, so it was defraying and not of terror.
So the earlier translation is the more you can trust it.
The more, even though it's not entirely trustworthy. And then the next line, the great king from Angoumois, it's not of the Mongols. People like Hogue suggest that it's based on Mongolois, meaning Mongols. Well, there's no such French word. The French word is Mongol or Mongolien, but not Mongolois. Angoumois is a part of western France, and the great king from Angoumois is the king who came from Angoumois, and that was Francis I, who was Nostradamus' king.
So we've gone from talking about an actual king in actual France where Nostradamus actually lived to the ghost of Genghis Khan.
That appears in some of them too. And then before after March he shall reign with good fortune. We're more or less on that one.
So what we've got though from the Nutter's translation, before and after Mars reigns happily, or war, Mars being the god of war. So we've gone from the king, he reigns after March, to the king being war itself reigning.
So we're completely up the creek.
And why would war reign after a nuclear war? Surely once you've used all the missiles,
we've had a nuclear war, have we? I didn't realise.
Well, in 1999 we did, according to...
Did we? Oh, yeah.
But then it was 9/11. And this is the mischief I want to tell you about, the mischief that certain hoax... I've done it again. Certain charlatans mentioning no hoax, they get up to. I saw him on an interview and he said, once this nuclear war never came to pass, he said, but it refers to 9/11 because, and this is how it refers to 9/11, because 7th month, well, in the Julian calendar,
oh God,
7th was September, and if you take 1999 and swap the 9s and the 1s, you get 9, 11, 1, and we're back to the Gregorian calendar. So apparently you can use whatever calendar you like, as long as it fits what you're trying to predict.
Yes, and the seventh month wasn't September in the Julian calendar, it was July.
Are you suggesting the Nostradamus are lying?
No, what they get mixed up with is that the beginning of the year was changed in 1580 something from March sometime to January, which is what we have now. So they're suggesting that the beginning of the year was March, so the seventh month was September. This is a complete misunderstanding of how calendars work. I mean, the beginning of the financial year now, here, is the 6th of April. We don't call it January. And the beginning of the academic year is September. We don't call that January either. They're merely different years, but the seventh month has always been July ever since the time of Julius Caesar.
So what we've got now, I mean, I'm still all for the nuclear war thing because I remember it well.
Yeah, indeed.
It happened. So what we basically got is a king. Is it 1999?
It is 1999, yes.
A king.
It's about the only date of that kind he's put in. I'll tell you the reason for that in a minute.
Yeah, we get to that definitely because you have a theory on that. In fact, that's the subject of this book.
It is indeed.
£13.99 in all good bookstores and in Amazon.
What Nostradamus did nearly all the time was project ancient events into the future. History repeats itself. So that's why he arrives at this 1999 date. He only has 18 dates in his whole work. All wrong, but this particular one, 1999, seems an extraordinary thing. I mean, the reason why he's using it is because in 1999, July, the planets, 6 of the planets, were in the same positions as they were in 1525, when King Francis, this king from Angoumois, was imprisoned in Madrid, dying apparently, and the Emperor Charles V turned up, and his very presence restored King Francis to life. So restore the king from Angoumois once more.
What he's done is taken his belief in astrology, because he did believe in astrology.
He
yes?
did. It was a hopeless astrologer, but yes.
So, and he's looked at an event in the past and looked at the astrological charts and whatnot for that, and he's thought, okay, if this has happened when the planets are in this alignment,
That's it.
then next time that alignment happens, the same thing must
It'll happen
happen
again.
because astrology isn't bullshit at all.
That's it. Right. And his whole work is based on this. He doesn't always do the astrology, but he believes fervently that every event that happened once is going to happen again.
So these are the 17 dates then. You said there are 18 dates he's given.
Yeah.
Is it known, the dates he's given in the future, or what was the future?
They're
to
all
him?
past dates, sort of 1700 and somewhat like that.
If you look at the time before that, when the planets would have, the events that he's taken, are they known? Is it known what they are, the events?
We haven't done the work on that yet, but this one is fairly sure. So there we are. That's how he did it. That's why we have 1999, because it's such an extraordinary date. He seems to have believed that the world was going to end in 1800 or end 1887 or something like that. So 1999 was out of his ballpark. Shall we see what some of these people say? I mean, the one that people are often quoting is Roberts. And he says, in the year 99 and 7 months, from the skies shall come an alarmingly powerful king, which is rather interesting, to raise again the great king of the Jacquerie. This is a revolt in, I think, 13th century France. Nothing to do with it. Before and after Mars shall reign at will.
It all just sounds like nonsense.
So we're getting quite a long way from it, from the start.
They seem very keen on bringing this Mars thing because they can, use it to mean a war.
Yes. Let's have a look at Erica Cheetham. In the year 1999 and 7 months, from the sky will come the great king of terror. That's where that came from. He will bring back to life the great king of the Mongols.
I'm so confused now.
This is the one that people are more familiar with.
Yes, right. Before and after war reigns happily.
Yeah, that's...
This is John Hogue.
Jonathan!
If I can manage to bear the thing up way so heavily. In the year 1999 and 7 months, July, he says, at least he's correct on that, a great king of terror will come from the sky. Well, probably isn't the sky, but there we are. He will bring back the great king Genghis Khan.
Oh my. I predicted that 5 minutes ago.
Before and after Mars rules happily, he says.
Dude, I got spicy mustard today.
I'm surprised he didn't go for the war translation. That seems more his speed.
It is strange, isn't it?
Now, John Hogue knows his stuff because he has both a beard and a beret, and
That's
he looks a
right.
lot like Nostradamus.
That's it. Yes. Well, the point is that most of the way out translations and versions of Nostradamus are by English-speaking people. It doesn't happen to have so much in French because they know what the French says. Most of these English commentators don't know French or only have schoolboy French. I suspect, I'm afraid, that poor old Hogue only has schoolboy French.
So even if you only speak modern French, growing up in France, you could read the old translations.
You could.
And make more sense of them than, say, some...
More sense, but people are often misled by some of the words that are used because they assume that it's a funny kind of modern French, and it isn't a funny kind of modern French. It's ancient French.
But you at least wouldn't be getting nuclear war from
Precisely
this
not.
or 9/11.
But there are various French commentators. One is a chap called Pierre Brun-Amour, who was professor of ancient studies at the University of Ottawa. He's really gone into these things deeply. There's no suggestion of nuclear war or any of these things. And there's another fellow who's a very famous novelist, Jean-Paul Clausel, who likewise, there's nothing whatsoever about most of those things there.
And of course, there was no nuclear war. And what did happen in 1999 in 7 months? I can't remember. A lot of people probably spent time underground that they didn't need to spend underground.
Indeed. I asked several of these people what it was like, what was going to happen on 1999, but curiously enough, they wouldn't tell me till afterwards.
Why don't we ask, what does he predict for, they say, this year? Is there a prediction anywhere for this year?
There's nothing for this year. The next one is for 3797.
Oh, I'll be really old then.
You would, yes.
I probably won't remember to check what happens. Anyone watching, if you're still, young and in 31, 97?
37, 97. Yeah.
30, if you're watching this in 37, 97, keep an eye out for what's supposed to happen.
He didn't actually mean 3797 for reasons which I shan't bother to explain.
Because the end of the world was in the 1800s.
Yes, and he meant 2242, which is when a lot of people thought the end of the world was going to come. So it has to do with the alleged age of the world being 7,000 years and so on and so forth. And then you have to work out the date of the creation. Nostradamus gives 5 different dates for the date of creation, 2 of them in the same document.
Well, you only get 2 different dates in the Bible. On that note...
We'll close the discussion on this particular thing, shall we?
In closing, no nuclear war. King comes back, pays the bills. Very boring. Later.
So, does Destiny think that Nostradamus predicted the future?
Ooh, I just made pizza. I made pizza.